وعلى آله وصحبه ومن استنى بسنته واهتدى بهداه إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، حياكم الله أيها الإخوة والأخوات إلى هذا اللقاء المتجدد من لقاءات نداءات القرآن. Dear brothers and sisters, you are welcome to this continuous session of the sessions of the calls of Quran. ونحن اليوم مع نداء من نداءات القرآن، وفيه يقول ربنا عز وجل: يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقولوا راعنا وقولوا انظرنا واسمعوا وللكافرين عذاب أليم. يأمر الله عز وجل المؤمنين. وابن مسعود رضي الله تعالى عنه يقول: إذا سمعت الله عز وجل يقول في كتابه العزيز يا أيها الذين آمنوا فرعها سمعك، فهي إما خير تدعى له أو شر تحذر منه. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah calls the believers, and this is the first call of the believers in the Quran. And Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu says, whenever you hear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, or you who believe, then pay attention and listen carefully, because it is either something good that you are guided to or something evil that you are warned against. Allah Ta'ala says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu la taqulu ra'ina, or you who believe, say not to Allah's messenger ra'ina, wa qulu unzurna, but say unzurna, wasma'u, and listen. And for the disbelievers is a painful punishment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يأمر المؤمنين بهذا الأمر. Allah the Almighty is commanding the believers with this command. And as you see, it is a command from one side, and it is a warning from other side. هو كما تلاحظون أن الآية تضمنت أمرا ونهيا. لا تقولوا راعنا وقولوا انظرنا. Don't say or say not راعنا, but say انظرنا. فيأمر الله عز وجل أن المؤمنين أن لا يقولوا راعنا. Allah the Almighty is commanding the believers not to use this word راعنا. لماذا؟ لأن راعنا في لغة اليهود من الرعونة، وهي أمر مستقبح، وهو أمر مستقبح. Allah Ta'ala forbid for the Muslims to say ra'ina, to say to the Prophet ﷺ ra'ina. Why? Because in the Hebrew language, ra'ina is a very bad word. The word ra'ina in Arabic literally means consider us, or give us time to hear you and listen to us. But the Jews used to use the same word with the meaning of an insult, meaning it's a word to be said to an imperfect man in the issue of manhood, and I wish you understand that it's a bad word to be said for people, for men who are not acting as men. So Allah Ta'ala forbid for the believers to say to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Ra'ina, وَقُولُوا انظُرْنَا, وَقُولُوا انظُرْنَا, and say, انظرنا, وقولوا انظرنا, ويعني من الإنظار وهو إعطاء الوقت والفرصة لأن يسمعوا ويفهموا. And it means give us a chance, give us a time and a chance for us to hear and absorb and understand what you say. ثم قال وللكافرين عذاب أليم. وللكافرين يعني الذين يستعملون هذه الكلمات من أجل الحط من قدر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لهم عذاب أليم. وهذا فيه أن الذي يتكلم بالسوء على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فهو كافر، فهو كافر. And here Allah Ta'ala said وللكافرين عذاب أليم, and for the disbelievers is a painful punishment. Painful punishment. Why? Because one who insults the Prophet ﷺ is kafir. Is kafir. لذلك قال العلماء من سب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقتل دون استتابة، ومن سب الله يستتاب. يستتاب. لماذا؟ لأن الله حي والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ميت. والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ميت، لا يستطيع أن يقضي في حق نفسه. The ulama said that the one who insults the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم must be killed with no any chance given for repentance in dunya. And that who insult Allah is to be asked to repent. Why? Because Allah is alive and He can punish this person right away. But the Prophet ﷺ is dead, so he cannot claim for his honor and his right. That's why it is said that he to be the one who insulted the Prophet ﷺ is to be killed. إذن هذا أول نداء للمؤمنين. So this is the first call to the believers. تضمن, it included نهيا, وهو النهي عن أن نتعامل مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم، وأيضا مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بمثل هذه الألفاظ التي تدل على الاحتقار وعدم الاحترام. So we are told not to use such words which includes or emphasize or refer to insulting and disrespect. وكذلك فيها النهي عن تعاطي أي كلمات مع أي مسلم من شأنها الحط من هذا المسلم ومن عرضه. And it also proves that it is forbidden for the Muslim to use any word in insulting a Muslim that may disrespect the believer. والمسلم دائما يتحرى الكلمات الصحيحة والكلمات ذات المعاني الجميلة. And the believer always should chase and look for the words which are good and it has good meaning. والله تعالى أعلم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه.
أحسن الله إليكم شيخنا، بارك الله فيكم.
وعليكم
معكم
وفيكم بارك
مصطفى.
الله. أهلا يا مصطفى، حياك الله، كيف أنتم؟
حياكم الله شيخنا، الحمد لله بخير، كيف أنتم؟
والله بخير، الله يحفظكم.
إن شاء الله نبدأ بالأسئلة.
تفضل.
طيب إن شاء الله. Okay, brothers and sisters, you can send your questions in inshallah on the Zoom chat or on YouTube. The first question we're going to take is from Zoom. The sister, she asks, what would you advise a young couple who are soon to be married, inshallah?
The advice is to fear Allah. Fear Allah and your spouse, and fear Allah in your household, as the Prophet ﷺ said, كلكم راع ومسؤول عن رعيته. And he said, you all are having and carrying some responsibility, and all going to be asked about this responsibility. And then he directed the speech to the woman, to the wife. So والمرأة راعية في بيت زوجها أو في مال زوجها في بيت زوجها ومسؤولة عن رعيتها. The woman, the wife, is responsible of the household, and she is going to be questioned about this trust, this amana that Allah Ta'ala put on her. والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول في الحديث إذا صلت المرأة فرضها وصامت شهرها وأطاعت زوجها وحفظت فرجها قيل لها ادخلي الجنة من أي أبوابها شئت. When the Muslim woman performs her obligatory prayers and perform her obligatory fasting and obey her husband and protect her chastity, she would be told on the day of resurrection, enter the paradise from any of the gates of paradise you choose, you like. And he, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, one day met a woman of Al-Ansar, and he asked her, how are you to your husband? She said, I am good to him. He, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, responded saying, that's good. And that's the meaning of what he said. That's good, as he is either your paradise or your hellfire. Meaning he to be the cause for you either to enter the paradise or to enter the hellfire. And the woman today is influenced by many deviations around the world and in the society through the media. That's why we need to keep reminding our sisters and our daughters, as well as our wives and even our mothers, our aunties, our cousins and niece, and remind them of this. The Prophet ﷺ told us that, and he ﷺ also told us, and he said that when the woman causes her husband anger, يعني makes him angry, the الحور العين will يعني curse her, saying to her, he is only with you temporarily, and he is soon coming to us. And even in the other hadith, that when the woman, when the wife causes her husband angry, or be angry, and she does not seek for forgiveness from him and please him, then the angels will spend the whole night cursing her. So the advice is prepare yourself from now from now to maintain this trust that Allah Ta'ala puts on your shoulders. It's heavy, but it's once it is done well, it is very, very fruitful, and it's very, very sweet and delicious in dunya and in the akhirah. Because in dunya you are doing it for the purpose of pleasing Allah. And whatever you do for pleasing Allah, Allah will give you something to be pleased with. May Allah Ta'ala make you a very excellent wife for your husband, and make your husband a very keen and excellent husband for you, and give you both good life in this worldly life with good children, pious children, and uh, make you both from the couples of the Jannah. Wallahu a'lam.
Allahumma ameen. Ahsan Allah ilaykum, Shaykhana. The next question is from YouTube. The sister asks, can a long khimar which fully covers, i.e. shayla, be classed as a correct hijab, or is it jilbab only?
The woman is told to cover her body from being seen and from being recognized. Shape recognized. Meaning she has to cover her skin as well as she has to cover the figure of the woman, the body. And that means, as Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha said, that the dress of the woman must be very wide, very loose, and covers her completely, and has no any attraction of any twinkling things or colorful or smell. As al-Mu'minin Aisha radiallahu anha described the woman of Al-Ansar when the ayah of hijab was revealed. She said, Rahim Allahu Nisa al-Ansar. May Allah Ta'ala bestow mercy upon the woman of Al-Ansar. Once the ayah of hijab was revealed, they went to their black clothes and they teared them and wrapped their bodies with. And they went to Fajr prayer in the masjid, and they were not even recognized while they were walking to the masjid because of the darkness and the blackness of their jilbab or their hijab. And she, radiallahu ta'ala anha, said that um, when she was with the Prophet sallallahu in the journey of the Battle of Tabuk, and they missed her, and the companion Safwan ibn Mu'attal came and found her, because the Prophet sallallahu used to assign one of the Sahaba to stay behind once the caravan goes, to check if they forgot anything, he collect and bring. And when he came and found somebody sleeping on the ground, covering except the face, he came and looked, and he saw Aisha. Aisha radiallahu anha said, yani,
Wait.
informing about this story. She said, um, he, Safwan, recognized me because he used to see me before the hijab was made obligatory. So that means after that, he didn't see her. And all the women of the Sahaba, they did not used to expose their faces or any of their bodies, neither uncovered or nor covered with something that figure it out, or give it a an attraction. نعم والله أعلم.
Ahsan Allahu ilaykum, Shaykhana. We'll take a question from Zoom. Sister asks, are daf nasheeds played and sung by men permissible for women for events such as weddings?
Well, the dof nasheed, the dof is for women definitely in the wedding. In the wedding, as in the hadith of Aisha again, when one of the women of Al Ansar married, he sallallahu told her, why didn't you women go there and make nasheed for her? And he told her what they should say. But the issue of duf for men is a matter of different opinions amongst the scholars. Um, some scholars, they say that it is permissible for men to use the duf. Now, uh, and that is only for the duf. The duf, which is the round, open-sided, what you guys call it drum, but the drum is a long neck drum. This one is a short neck with one side leather, other side open. That is called يعني even if it is two sides leather, no problem. But it is the neck is small, it's not that big. So some ulama say that it is permissible for men. Yes, the question is about women, but I spoke about men because the questioner said the nasheed, the duf nasheed used by men, is it allowed to be used by women in the wedding? That is the other way around. Normally, the nasheed, sorry, the duf is allowed, no doubt, for women. Is allowed, no doubt. Not even a single scholar said that it is not allowed. But it is the other way around. The men using the duf is a matter of different opinions. Now, however, there are some very respectful scholars say that it is permissible. Say it is permissible. Anyway, the question is about women, and the answer is yes. Wallahu a'lam.
أحسن الله إليكم. We have another question from YouTube. The brother's asking, what is the ruling on studying Arabic grammar with someone who isn't Salafi? He has videos online, and his Arabic grammar is good. He does not give tafsir of the Quran. He just gives fundamental grammar rules.
Wallahi, it's not recommended for one to study with someone who is not up on the way of the Salaf, because the student cannot recognize he's a student. The student is always lower than the teacher. So this person can insert something into the explanation which you cannot distinguish, you cannot recognize, and then you will absorb it. I give you a story of one of the Salaf, Abu Tamim Ayyub al-Sakhtiyani, who was an imam, a great imam. A man came to him and he said, I want to just discuss with you an ayah of the Quran. Ayub said not even half of ayah or one word of ayah. And when he was asked by his companions, why didn't you allow him to discuss with you an ayah? He said, I'm afraid that he says a word of doubt that settles in my heart and does not leave it. So if an imam such as Ayyub al-Sakhtiyani fears, how about you? How about you? Alhamdulillah, today you can find a Salafi who teaches you whether life or stay with those who are upon the Salafi way. Wallahu a'lam.
أحسن الله إليكم.
Mm.
The next question from Zoom. Sister asks, please may you advise me as I have been diagnosed with cancer and I am going through chemotherapy this Ramadan and the next Ramadan, but I will be able to fast after next Ramadan to repay that year's Ramadan. What should I do for this Ramadan coming? Jazakallahu khaira.
If the doctors say that you can fast next Ramadan, then you have to wait until Allah Ta'ala restore health for you. I mean, Allah Ta'ala have it happen soon. And then you make up the days. Then you make up the days. And whenever and it is not necessarily to be right away. You can make the days through the rest of your life. No problem. But you do not give a compensation for or expiation for you do not give expiation for your disability of fasting one Ramadan uh, unless unless the doctors say that you will never be able to fast. Other than that, no, you should wait until the doctors allow you to fast, and then you fast even once a week or yani, like that. You can yani, fast it as your ability. Now, wallahu alam.
Barakallahu feekum, Shaykhana. We missed a question yesterday. Sisters asking again. Can we combine intentions for fasting? I.e., can I fast tomorrow because it's Thursday? At the same time, I'm paying off a missed fast. And likewise on the month of Ramadan, can we fast on a Monday because it's Sunnah at the same time? It's an obligatory fast. Jazakumullahu khairan.
طيب, this question can lead us to a question which is an answer to your question. We know that the Sunnah of Fajr is 2 rakat, and the Fajr itself is 2 rakat. Can I combine the Sunnah of Fajr with Fajr? Yani I pray only 2 rakat with the intention of Sunnah of Fajr and Fajr at the same time. No one would say that yes. Why? Because this is an independent deed of worship, and this is an independent deed of worship. You cannot combine between two obligatory worships together. You cannot combine the the optional worship with the obligatory worship. You cannot. Yes, you can. You can combine in two intentions of two different optional yani worships. Example, you can you prayed Fajr, but you missed the 2 rak'ah of Fajr, and you right away after Salah you left for something important you have. When it was 10 o'clock in the morning, you came to the masjid and you wanted to make your 2 rak'ah of Fajr, and at the same time you want to make 2 rak'ah of Tahiyatul Masjid, and you want to make 2 rak'ah of Duha. Yes, you can combine these three deeds in one action. The three intentions can go for one action, but you have to order the strongest. Yani the strongest is 2 rak'ah of Fajr, then the 2 rak'ah for Duha, and then the 2 rak'ah Tahiyatul Masjid. But you cannot combine between yani the obligatory and optional. So you cannot join the intentions uh, for making up an obligatory missed day of fast, and at the same time intention of optional. Yani on Monday you make two intentions, make up that day of last year Ramadan and make it on Monday. No, that's yes, it is good to يعني make um, your making up the missed days during the preferable days, no problem. That is good. As Umar bin Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu used to make up the days in the days of the first 10 days of the Hijjah. Whenever he missed any days of Ramadan, he used to wait until the first 10 days of the Hijjah and make them there, because these are the good deeds are preferable in them. But it doesn't mean that you combine between the obligatory and the the optional. Wallahu a'lam.
أحسن الله إليكم شيخنا. We have a question that I saw a few times last week and also this week. The brother asks, what's better to repeat short surahs from memory, i.e. from memory, or to read from the Mus'haf? And he was asking with regards to Taraweeh or Qiyamul Layl. Is it better for a person to repeat the short surahs that he's memorized or to recite from the Mus'haf?
That, of course, the best is to recite what you memorize. Why? Because this makes you focus and concentrate. But when you are busy in watching the Mus'haf, reading from the Mus'haf, that that extract your focusing capability. It reduces your possibility of khushu', tranquility. So it is better. Yani Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam spent one whole night reciting only one ayah, repeating it, and his rak'ah used to be long. So he used to stay long in one rak'ah, just repeating one ayah. إن تعذبهم فإنهم عبادك وإن تغفر لهم فإنك أنت الغفور. So he used to repeat it in the same rak'ah, and then he goes for ruku', rise up, goes sujood, sit up, sit down, then sujood, then stand up, and again Fatiha, and repeat that ayah again in the whole night prayer. So it's okay to repeat whatever Quran you memorize than to carry the Mus'haf. But if you want to carry the Mus'haf, it's permissible. It's permissible, but not preferable. No, Wallahu a'lam.
Barakallahu feekum, Shaykhana. Another question from YouTube. Is fasting obligatory upon the one possibly suffering from ayn or sihr? He struggles with fasting due to his symptoms such as intense anxiety / mental health. Barakallahu feekum.
Everybody has sanity and is not sick physically, that sickness which makes him unable to fast, and he is not traveling, and if the person is a woman, she is not in menses or bleeding after giving birth, then he or she must fast. Must fast. If the person is sick, he or she should go to the doctor and يعني, get medication to be cured and healed from this sickness. But to take it as an excuse not to fast, that's not permissible. Wallahu a'lam.
Ahsanallahu ilaykum. We have another question from Zoom. The brother asks, if one owes money to someone due to compensation for damaged property, for example, a car, then later the one whose property you have damaged is in need of a greater loan and is in a greater debt of that which you owe them, then the money is paid to help. Does the debt still remain from the original damage which was caused?
I got confused now. Say
السؤال
again.
غير واضح. إن شاء
سؤال
الله.
غير واضح.
نعم. He says,
say it again.
if someone owes money to another person as compensation for damaged property,
okay,
then later the one whose property you have damaged, he is in need of a greater loan and is in a greater debt, then the debt that you owe them, and then you pay them money to help them, does the debt still remain from the original damage which was caused?
Well, this is based on the agreement. You can tell him, you can say that I can pay your compensation and you use it as you like, and then I'm free from the compensation. But yani, without this, yeah, you still, and it's like a loan or a charity, but you still owe him that money of compensation. Wallahu a'lam.
Ahsanallahu ilaykum. Another question from YouTube. May Allah preserve you, Shaykh. Can you shed light on why do we follow local moon sighting and not global sighting? And when asked why, what should we give to others as a dalil for this?
First of all, this is an issue of different opinions among the scholars from the time of Sahaba. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhuma was in Medina when the Khalifa Muawiyah was in Sham, in Damascus, and a man came from Damascus to Medina at the end of Ramadan, and Ibn Abbas asked him, so what day did you start fasting there with the Khalifa? He said this day. Ibn Abbas said, but we started on this day, meaning the following day, and we're not going to stop fasting until either we see the moon, meaning in Medina, or we complete the number of days of Ramadan, 30 days. So, it's a matter of different opinions, but and since that time, the people are differing on that. So, what is compulsory is that if you're living in a Muslim land, and that Muslim land go with moon sighting, not calculating, then you have to go with that. The moon sighting of that land, of that country, and you have to be with the ruler, because the Prophet ﷺ said, "As-sawmu yawma tasumun wal-fitru yawma tuftirun." The fasting is when you all fast, and the fitr, the breaking fast day, is the day in which you all break the fast, meaning the Eid. And this means if there is one Khalifa and he declared that it is tomorrow fasting, then yeah, we go with that. But as long as there are many rulers, different rulers, each country has its own ruler, then the people living in that country, whether citizens of that country or foreigners living there for work or for whatever, once the ruler of that land declares it is Ramadan, then based on moon sighting, not declare, just declare, no, declare based on moon sighting, then you have to fast with them. Even if you are from a country which they declare that tomorrow is not Ramadan, you still have to fast with the ruler who you are living in his land. And moon sighting can be with naked eyes or with instruments. That's all possible and allowed, but calculation is not allowed. Wallahu a'lam.
Ahsanallahu ilaykum, Shaykhana. Question from Zoom. Does a man need to cover his head whilst praying, such as with a hat, and does his clothing need to be above his ankles? Barakallahu feek.
In regard to the head cover, that is preferable, not compulsory, meaning the salah is sahih if you pray without head cover. And the proof for that is when you are in ihram. But they clothe the lower garment going below the ankles, that is forbidden in Salah and outside Salah. In Salah and outside the Salah. In both, it's forbidden because the Prophet ﷺ said, ما أسفل من الكعبين ففي النار. ما أسفل من الكعبين ففي النار. The garment which extends below the uh, the um, uh, the ankles is in the fire. That part is in the fire, and this means that the person is going to be tortured on the day of resurrection. Uh, and praying and praying uh, in long clothes, uh, for men, that that is a matter of yani different opinions in in regard to the acceptance of the salah or not. Some of the ulama say it is not accepted, and some ulama says that it is accepted. Based on a hadith, some of them yani, say that it is authentic. Some say it is authentic, and some say it is unauthentic. But uh, yani, the action itself is forbidden, no doubt. Is forbidden, no doubt, because um, the Prophet ﷺ, as I said, mentioned in the hadith, saying, "Ma asfala min al-ka'bayn min al-izari fa fi an-nar," as in Bukhari. Whatever yani goes below the ankles, that part which is covered with the lower garment, whether this garment is trousers or yani dress, thobe, or whatever. And he ﷺ said that ثلاثة لا يكلمهم الله ولا ينظر إليهم يوم القيامة ولا يزكيهم ولهم عذاب أليم المسبل إزاره والمنان فيما أعطى والمنفق سلعته والحالف والمنفق سلعته بالحالف الكاذب. And this hadith is reported by Imam Muslim. So he said that three kind of people Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of resurrection not going to talk to them, neither look at them, nor that he Allah ta'ala recommend them. And they will only receive the painful punishment. And these people are, the first one is the one who extends his clothes, lower garment, below the ankles. And the other is al-Mannan, the one who gives a gift or sadaqah, and then he goes speak of it, whether speak to the one who he gave to in a way of dishonoring him, or speak to others, exposing him that I gave him. Now, and the third is the one who, the businessman who sells his merchandise by swearing falsely, and swearing that it cost like this, but it is not correct, but it is the untrue. Wallahu a'lam.
Allahu ilaykum. We have another question from YouTube. The person says, I'm unable to make up the remaining of my missed fasts before Ramadan now, as I have started my period. So I will need to donate money to charity. So will I need to donate money to charity for each missed fast?
No. We need to know what was the reason for you did not fast those days. If it is only menses, then you cannot يعني give exhibition يعني as money or as feeding poor, but you have to fast those days. You have to fast them. And according to some ulama, If this Ramadan comes and you did not make up those days, then after Ramadan you have to fast and feed a needy for each day. But if you miss those days because you were pregnant during the month of Ramadan last year, or you were breastfeeding, then yes, you feed a needy for each day of those days. Naam, wallahu a'lam. And feeding, by the way, feeding a needy does not mean you give money to the poor, does not mean you give money to the organization without informing what this money for. You cannot just drop the money in the box of the organization, which is a collective of general charity or zakah. That you have to inform them that this is this is a for a exhibition of unfasted days in Ramadan. Now,
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykhana. A question from Zoom. The brother has given 3 questions. First, is fasting a way to attain taqwa outside of Ramadan?
yes, yes, fasting is always a way to attain taqwa, and you can feel it when you are fasting. Your iman increases. You're fearing Allah. You're watching Allah increases. Yeah, of course it. And any worship, if done based on 2 things, then definitely it is a way of attaining taqwa. One is sincerity. Second is adhering the sunnah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. If these 2 conditions are found in any worship, then that worship for sure it is going to attain the one who does it taqwa. No.
And the next question, he says, does tasting the miswak invalidate fasting, or, for example, leftover food from your teeth?
Testing the siwak is not it does not invalidate your fast, because as Ibn Abbas, as I remember, said that the Prophet ﷺ used to use the siwak while he's fasting. And but the other thing, remaining food in the teeth, you cannot swallow. You cannot swallow. If you swallow it intentionally, then you have broken your fast. You have invalidated. You have to throw it away. But if you unwillingly, you didn't realize, you didn't notice, you accidentally swallowed it unintentionally, then that is no problem. Wallahu.
And the last question, he says, does sadness in general lower iman?
Well, sadness is not for the believers. One should not feel sadness, because in some sayings, yeah, sadness lower iman, but not generally, because sometimes you get sad because you see something that makes you sad. Like if you, for example, you see an oppressed person, or a very badly treated animal, someone beating his horse or camel or donkey or something like that, or making it work more than what it can do. Or if you see someone who's very poor and you couldn't make anything, of course you're gonna feel sad. This sadness increases the iman. It depends why you are sad. Why you are sad. It's not always sadness is decreases iman, but it can decrease iman, it can increase iman. It decreases iman if it is only for dunya. If you be sad for dunya uh, lost from you, then of course that decreases iman. But uh, if you and get sad for something related to the deen, that shows that your heart is uh, alive with iman. نعم والله أعلم.
أحسن الله إليكم شيخنا. Can we take, are we okay to take more questions, Sheikh?
تفضل.
Brother on YouTube, he asks how to advise a sister in Islam regarding to cover up and not showing awrah on social media.
I don't know what you mean by how. How? You tell her, you inform her, say to her, sister, you are not allowed to expose your body, your aura, your face, your hair, your hand. It's not permissible to do so. Like that, you can directly approach. Abu Huraira saw a woman walking in one of the streets, and she was perfumed. He followed her and he said to her, "O slave of Allah, go back and take a shower." As I hear the Prophet ﷺ saying, any woman goes out of her house with perfume on, uh, and the man finds this smell, then she is Zania. So he told her that. So you tell this sister, sister, you have to cover yourself. This is not permissible. والله أعلم.
Barakallahu feekum, Shaykhana. A few more questions on Zoom. What is the ruling on watching TV series during Ramadan? Is there any exception for watching a TV series about the life of a prophet or a companion of the prophet?
We have two things here. Are these series of, as they call it, Islamic series, allowed? And acting the companions of Rasulullah, that is not allowed, of course. Look to who's acting the role of Umar or Abu Bakr or Abu Huraira. Subhanallah. These actors are if they are not the worst models for people because of their manners and at least they are from the worst. So that is first of all not allowed, and no one is allowed to act the role of any companions, because that that is a clear lie to say that he is Abu Bakr, he is Umar or Ibn Abbas or. And the second thing is Ramadan for these things. Allah Ta'ala says, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. Is Ramadan for this? Imam Malik and Imam Shafi'i used once Ramadan enters, they close the books of Hadith. They don't teach Hadith. And they just focus on reciting the Quran from beginning of Ramadan to the end of Ramadan. So how come one sits and watch series of, as they say, of Sahaba? That's of course haram. That's not allowed. And that's a waste of your time, valuable time. Ramadan is valuable time. Jibreel alayhi salam used to come to the Prophet in every single night of Ramadan. And they both, the best of the angels and the best of mankind, they used to sit and recite the Quran every night, every night. So how come you sit watching series? The Imam Malik, Imam Shafi'i, they did not even used to teach the hadith of Rasulullah, rather to teach the seerah, but they used to recite the Quran. So keep your time used wisely. Either recite the Quran or listen to the recitations of Quran or read the interpretation of the meanings of Quran This will increase your iman and help you. Wallahu a'lam.
أحسن الله إليكم شيخنا. Few more questions from Zoom. What did the
But
Rasul sallam?
I'm hearing a lot of noise and disturb in my ear.
Okay, subhanallah.
Yeah.
Is my
Okay.
voice clear?
Your voice is clear, but there are other voices now. It's quiet. I don't know from you or from someone else opening their mic. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Bismillah. The question says, what did the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam say on eating meat? Should we be consuming it a lot, and is it good?
Well, there is nothing from the Prophet ﷺ in this regard, but there is general advice from the Prophet ﷺ. He said in one hadith, um, one should not fill up his belly with food or with drink, but he said uh, divide it to three divisions, one for food, one for drinks, and one for air. And he ﷺ said, ما ملأ ابن آدم وعاء شر من بطنه. The mankind never filled up any container worse for him than his belly. And he ﷺ said, كفى بابن آدم لقيمات يقمن صلبه. It's enough or sufficient some bites of food for mankind to give him the strength so that he can يعني do his duties, meaning not to fill up your body. But there is nothing in regard to whether to eat meat or not. But I don't advise you, I don't recommend you to eat. I am somebody who had cancer one day. And when I asked my doctor, how come this cancer came to me? He said cancer mainly come from consuming a lot of meat, red meat. So you have to be careful. Don't consume too much of red meat because it may harm you. But there is nothing in the religion to say whether to eat red meat or not to eat or how much to eat. Wallahu a'lam.
أحسن الله إليكم. We have a question from YouTube. What is the ruling on people making charity or GoFundMe pages as a sadaqatul jariyah for the deceased? Is this from the Sunnah?
لا, this is not from the Sunnah. This is not from the Sunnah. الصدقة الجارية, it is either done by him who died. He had done صدقة جارية before he died, or his son or daughter or a relative did it for him after he died. But it's not to go for fun or make a fundraise activity and collect money for having sadaqah on behalf of someone. That's not correct. What is correct is to make dua for the deceased. As the Prophet ﷺ said, وَلَدٌ صَالِحٌ يَدْعُو لَهُ. The dua is the best. Dua is Allah Ta'ala
Brothers and sisters, just wait patiently, inshallah. Maybe the Shaykh received a call or had some connection interruption. We'll just wait for the Shaykh to come back, inshallah.
السلام عليكم شيخ. ما نسمعك يا شيخ.
نعم.
جرب الآن.
الآن تسمعني؟
أيوة جيد ما شاء الله جزاك الله خير.
نعم.
I think the connection.
نعم. Yeah, the connection from here. I saw my phone. The connection here went off.
أيوة الحمد لله جزاك الله خير.
إياكم. Did you hear the answer of last question?
No, Shaykh, it was cut off.
Oh, طيب. Repeat the question.
The question was, Afwan, yes, is it from this, or what's the ruling on people making charity pages or GoFundMe pages as a sadaqatul jariyah for the deceased? Is this from the Sunnah?
No, it is not from the Sunnah to make so, because there were many Sahaba passed away during the lifetime of Rasulullah, and he Sallallahu did not call for any sadaqah for them, but he called for sadaqah for poor people who were alive. Now, the deceased is not in need for sadaqah more than in need for dua. And dua is the best ibadah that Allah Ta'ala loves. And
شيخ السلام عليكم. I think your connection is gone again شيخنا. Shaykh Mustafa, is it only me or is the Sheikh's connection?
No, I think the Shaykh connection is messing up.
Oh, inshallah, we let him come in and then we ask him if he wants to continue or not, inshallah.
Okay.
السلام عليكم شيخنا. Maybe Sheikh, if you can unmute, inshallah.
Naam, you hear me?
جيد. Yeah, you went.
I said maybe this question does not want to be answered.
Allahu Akbar.
I said in the answer before the was I said that nothing like the dua for the deceased. As the Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا مَاتَ ابْنُ آدَمَ انْقَطَعَ عَمَلُهُ إِلَّا مِنْ ثَلَاثٍ. From it is dua. The Prophet ﷺ said that when the person dies, of his deeds stops, except for three things. One of them is dua. And he ﷺ said that the dua from you to your brother in the absence of his, this would be guaranteed acceptance, and the angel will say for you the same. Beside that, the dua is the best ibadah. As the Prophet ﷺ said, الدعاء هو العبادة. هو العبادة. Now, so instead of making that, just concentrate on dua for him and make a lot of dua for him. There were many Sahaba who passed away during the lifetime of Rasulullah, and he never called the Sahaba to contribute as a sadaqah jariyah for them, but he called the Sahaba to contribute as a sadaqah for those poor people who came to Medina. They were alive. He did not yani, give it to the poor in behalf of them. لا, he gave it to them because they were poor. نعم والله أعلم.
أحسن الله إليكم شيخنا. Question from Zoom. Is house insurance permissible or anything similar to that? Is it permissible?
All insurance is impermissible. All type of insurance, house insurance, life insurance, car insurance, business insurance, whatever insurance is prohibited. Why? Because the insurance is based on uh, gambling criteria. Everyone pays something and only some benefit from that. Yani you may continue paying for a couple of years and you do not get any advantage of that, and it is not saved for you, you know. So that is and one may pay little and he gets yani thousands of times more than what he paid. That is all haram. That is maysir, and it is same as gambling. نعم والله أعلم.
نعم بارك الله فيكم. We have a question on YouTube. The sister asks how to advise your mother against backbiting without falling into disobedience to her.
Exactly the same way of advising her not to waste her money. If you see your mother wasting her money, you're not going to keep quiet because this is so not to let her consume and waste her hasanat, because backbiting is a wasting of hasanat. Speak to her gently, nicely, bring her the ayat, the ahadith that shows that it is yani major sin and forbidden. But be nice when you advise your mother. And remember always that this is your mother. Because some of our brothers and sisters, when they advise their parents, they be rude with them in speech. And that is very bad. With outsiders, with non-relatives, it's unacceptable. As the Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah said, تعمدني بنصحك كل حين وجنبني النصيحة في الجماعة فإن النصح بين الناس نوع من التقريع لا أرضى استماعه. He said, uh, come to me and advise me every time, but do not advise me in front of people, as advising in front of people is a way of uh, striking over my head, which I don't like to have or hear. So do not be angry when you are not obeyed. So yani that's with the strangers. So what about your parents? Allah Ta'ala said, وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفْ وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. Allah Ta'ala said, do not say to them oof, meaning the lowest way of objection. And وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفْ وَلَا وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. And say to them, and speak to them very nicely, gently, with and beautiful speech. Wallahu a'lam. I think we better stop here because I have a class in a short while and I need to prepare. Barakallahu feekum. And inshallah we'll see you tomorrow again. بإذن الله. والله تعالى أعلم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Aba Aisha, I will be still waiting for the new timing of Ramadan for you.
Inshallah. Inshallah, Shaykh.
Inshallah.